55th and just off of Broadway. That's the first Panther Pad that I lived in.
That you lived in.
Yeah.
And how many people, what is it like, the Panther Pad? Give us the dynamics. What does it look like? What does it feel like?
It would be a house. The house on 55th had like two or three bedrooms, living room, little dining room, and the kitchen. There might be 20 people living there off and on, or that might be their regular residence. I actually, me and Al had a real room because I had the baby, and I got pregnant again while I was living there, and so we had the crib in there with my daughter. So we had a room with the two boys, but then there was another room. Then there was another room where you might be 3 or 4 different people sleeping in a double side bed. I mean, just
young people.
Tired, you just go to bed.
Young people. Yeah.
Yeah. We had political education classes in the evening.
Inside that house?
In that house. And we had the free breakfast program in that house.
Oh.
As well. So we get up in the morning, fix the food for the kids, they come and eat.
How did you manage kids living in the Panther house, being a member of the party, and are you working at this time?
I worked for a little while after that at the phone company, but then I just stopped going to work. They call them, but I just stopped going. And I guess...
And stopped school?
Yes, I stopped going to school too. Because it was funny. I guess since I had the most knowledge about health, because I had taken an anatomy and physiology class, I became in charge of the clinic that was opening. So I became the clinic coordinator.
That makes sense.
I think I was 20 years old. That every time I think about that, I just have to crack up because, I mean, but that's it. And you learn, you step into it, and you learn what needs to be done, and you do it. Because I lived in one of the houses that served breakfast. You would get up, and you would help get the breakfast ready, and then the folks that were going to sell papers or collect donations, they would get their things together and get ready to go out into the field, is what we called it. But when I became the clinic coordinator, that was my job. So I went to the clinic.
When was the clinic founded?
It was getting started before, it must have been 1969. Because when I came, the facility was there, the furniture and supplies, and we were getting doctors and nurses and lab techs. So I would say 1969, I don't know if they actually started seeing patients until 1970.
How many patients did you see a day? Or did the doctor see a day? Or how were you open for regular hours?
No, we weren't open a whole lot of hours. And it pretty much depended on when we could get volunteers. And then we established that we would be open like in the evenings when people got off work. Then they can come and see the doctor then, or a Saturday. We worked with Marie Branch. Have you been introduced to her?
That name sounds so familiar.
She's an RN, and she taught at UCLA. And she was one of our main recruiters of getting medical professionals to come and work at the clinic. We would have nursing students, medical students and residents, and a couple of them still in contact with. One of the psychiatrists who was like our chief medical officer. His name was Terry Coopers, and he still does work around prisoners in mental health, but he lives up in the Bay Area now. Yeah, we connected a few years ago because I saw something. I said, Terry Coopers. So I sent an email. I said, is this my Terry Coopers from the free clinic? And we talked for a long time after that. Yeah. So that's...
What kind of health challenges did the community have when they came to that clinic? What was it normally for?
The same, diabetes, hypertension, and in LA, some STIs, some STDs. But Berkeley, that was really on and cracking then because, it was a time of make love and not war. So we treated a lot of STIs there. But I'm sorry.
What were the reasons why? Okay, so you
Oh, the
have these
people
people,
who
they're
with their health
coming there,
challenges.
but they don't have it. Obviously, they don't have
They
insurance,
don't
or how
have
do they
insurance.
pay, or what do they?
They don't pay. They don't have insurance. And we used to get donations. When people sold the paper, they would also have a can and would ask people to make donations. We did. We were some of the first people to start raising awareness about sickle cell,
Mm-hmm.
and so we got a lot of donations for that. But so when they would come to the clinic, they would see the doctor. We had established relationships with, the doctors had established relationships with pharmaceutical reps because, they come to their office and leave samples and whatnot. And they would give us all their samples. So we would have medication for the people. They didn't have money to get a prescription, so we gave them meds. We did the lab work there. Brother, later on in life, they called him Sankofa, but his name was Bill Arnold. And he was a lab technician and a carpenter, all tradesmen. He built out our clinic. He built out the pharmacy and the laboratory areas. And we either had donated or scraped together money to buy, machines to test your blood, detect your urine, microscopes, and we learned how to do those things. And that's when I started to realize that, medicine is not rocket science for the most part. There's a lot that goes on in medicine that a regular person that hasn't been to medical school can learn to do. So we worked a lot with Vietnam corpsmen who had seen a lot.
Yeah.
And they came, and along with the progressive doctors and nurses that we work with, they taught us to draw blood, to give injections, and we learned how to operate the lab. We get the test and we can put them in machines, or we can put it on a slide and look at it under the microscope. And so I had some of that experience, doing my studies at Cal State, and then we might get money and get a big machine where we could spin the blood down and we could test the hemoglobin and stuff like that.
And you guys were lay people.
Yes, we learned all that, and I have some bigger stories for the Berkeley Clinic, though.
Okay.
Yeah, because this one, it didn't get off the ground like the one in Berkeley did because we left.
Because you all went north.
Yes, But when I remember one night, one guy had been smoking in bed and he wouldn't go to the hospital, and so they brought him into the clinic, and his back was it was like second and third degree burns. The skin was off, and it was just horrible. But we were able to, give him like first aid and patch him up and get him to go to a hospital because he wasn't going to go. I mean, he was very, very intoxicated too. But we got to be going. Then afterwards, then he came back, and so later when he was better, he came back and thanked us and stuff. And
were you open on the weekends? Because I'm thinking about if you were open in the evenings, weekends, where people weren't at
but
work.
Not all the time.
Okay.
It wasn't a consistent schedule like the schedule we had in Berkeley. Like I said, we were just getting started. We were getting people to come to work, and so it wasn't a real consistent schedule early on.
Do you have any inkling, or did you have any inkling of the impact this was having on law enforcement, what you were doing, not the other things that the Panthers were known for?
They used to harass us. They would come to the clinic, just sit out there, or yeah, they do what they could to harass you wherever. But like I said, I wasn't political. That was never my focus. And then after I realized later on that it wasn't just the body that I was interested in from physical education stuff, it was overall health. I had a stepmom who was a nurse who taught me a lot as I was growing up. She'd bring home her nursing textbooks and go through them with me and my brother, and so that was the real passion, for people to have healthier lives than they were having. And I know I had to learn how to shoot a gun, and I had to learn. We stood guard at night because you look at Fred Hampton. They come in the middle of the night and
Do what they want.
yeah, those people would have been dead when they raided those offices in December if somebody hadn't been up on guard and told them when stuff was starting to jump off.